Hello friends, Lou Pickney with you here, a live-to-tape recording. DKDB. It has been catching on. I rebranded DraftKings.com. I have what I consider to be the greatest collection of mock drafts out there. Top analysts. Added some new things to DKDB. I'll show you right here. And how DKDB works section. Let me read this for you. This page explains how DKDB mocks are selected and what standards guide the curation process. Goes through what DKDB is, why it exists, how the DKDB, which is me, selects the mocks, analyst track record, me, but looking at these analysts and keeping track of it, methodology and process, effort and intent, update cadence, editorial judgment, what DKDB does not do. DKDB does not reproduce full mock drafts, scrape content, summarize paywalled work, replace the analyst site, use AI to generate mocks, or list every mock published online. Every listing links directly to the original source. DKDB exists to send readers to analysts, not take traffic from them. When I'm selective, curation only works when it is intentional. Listing every mock would dilute the value of the index, overwhelm readers, reward low-effort content, and make it harder to find the best work. By staying selective, DKDB keeps the focus on quality. The updates, updating daily. There may be certain instances where I'll have like the lacrosse tournament coming up in a couple of weeks that I'll be calling in Nashville, the Music City Classic. Looking forward to that. But that will limit me somewhat. But that aside, this is my full area concentration right here. Who curates it? It's me. And I'm hyping up this YouTube channel you're watching right now. This is not a live stream right here. This is live to tape recording. The consultant said to do it this way. And then finally what DKDB aims to be. I was told that this last updated, and I did. Also an about section about me, who I am, why I started DKDB. I didn't really harp on the rebranding part too much. It's still DraftKings.com, that's still the domain, but DKDB, that's the name. And my goodness, what an impact it's had. I hope this holds, because my goodness. We're going to have some fun this year if this holds. The early results are very strong. I try and keep my guard up against false hope. Also means you got to keep the hard work going with this, which is fine. I love it. How I evaluate mocks, the methodology, the reasoning, track record, consistency, all things taken into consideration. Philosophy, how DKDB and this channel you're watching right now, the Mock Draft NFL channel, which is where my personal mock draft lives, mockdraftnfl.com for that. And then what I want DKDB to be, my goal is for DKDB to be the most trusted, human-curated guide to NFL mock drafts, a place where fans know they are getting thoughtful recommendations, backed by clear reasoning and consistent standards. In a world where anyone can publish a mock draft and AI can publish thousands, DKDB exists to highlight the work that stands out. There's new additions today to DKDB. DKDB, Lou Pickney's curated 2026 NFL mock draft database. Keep it real short and sweet, DKDB. So I want to talk about some of these new mocks that have gone in here today. We got 5 new ones just since midnight Eastern. Some we've seen before, some first time going through. Let's see what Matt Miller has from ESPN. Matt has some tremendous work. I'm a big fan of Matt Miller. I urge you with these links, go there, read from these individuals. They put these thoughts into words. I pick the very best of the best to put in here. So looking over my reaction here, live to tape of Matt Miller, and I'll be a little bit briefer on some of these to kind of going through here and pointing out things that stand out. But you're going to see Mendoza at 1 to the Raiders practically everywhere. If it's not there, I don't know what to tell you. Arvell Reese to the Jets at 2. Most are leaning that way. You see a couple that have edge rushers here, or maybe Caleb Downs, or a gimmick like maybe not even running back necessarily, but point is, Reese is the one you're going to see the most here. Matt Miller holds with that. Mauigoa to the Cards. A lot of thought Cards will go offensive tackle. At 4, Ruben Bain Jr. to the Titans. I mentioned before, I'm a big fan personally of Ruben Bain Jr. Bain gives full effort on every play. That bulldog mentality. The fact he can be a 3-down defensive edge lineman, strong enough against the run, and my goodness, tenacious off the edge. Carnell Tate to the Giants at 5. It's weird because I think with Malik Neighbors there, do you really use a number 5 overall pick on a receiver? You got Carnell Tate, who's got that unique ability to get open so remarkably well in 3 seconds or less. Some people are thinking receiver. That's what Matt Miller has here at 5 for the Giants. This is my reaction. Live to tape. Some new mocks that came out today, including this one. Try the list here. DKDB. And this mock from Matt Miller of ESPN. Fando at 6 to the Browns. A lot of this matches what I had. My most recent mock. Downs to the Commanders at 7. I've heard from people in the Senior Bowl week. Part of it is the player evaluation. Part is the comparing notes. And then, particularly for me, hearing from the right people, saying, okay, like with Caleb Downs, he could go top 10, but I've heard he could go somewhere closer to 20. Most people seem to think in the top 12. Here it's 7, Downs to the Commanders. Jeremiah Love to the Saints. A lot of people are saying that. I guess we'll see what happens in free agency. There are some Saints fans that were not happy with this concept that I read from online over on Reddit. Love is a uniquely talented player. He's just so consistent. Even though running back is not the same position it used to be, as far as the value in the NFL, it's still important. If you get an ace in there, especially a good pass receiver, Young can catch, or Love can catch the ball just fine. That's at 8. Jeremiah Love to the Saints. At 9, David Bailey sliding a little bit. A lot of thought maybe the Chiefs will go defensive end edge. Possibly at that 9 spot. Get an elite player at a premium position. As low as the Chiefs have been drafting the last several years because of their success, they've not had a chance to necessarily get one of those high-end players at a premium position. So I think that's part of the thought as well. Also, if Love is off the board, that takes that out of the equation for the Chiefs. Jeremiah Love goes to the Saints at 8. Here, Matt Miller has David Bailey. Not a bad consolation prize to the Chiefs at 9. Mansour Lane to the Bengals. Some Bengals fans I read from, not happy with the idea of taking a corner here. But here, Matt Miller says they're taking Mansour Delane. If Delane's gone, the Dolphins at 11. They need a corner. Jermod McCoy. The thought seems to be that McCoy's going to be healthy enough. He'll do the workouts. He'll perform well. He had that great 2024 season. Torn ACL in January of last year. Kept him out all of 2025. A lot of Sonny Styles to Dallas at 12. That's what I have. Colton Hood is interesting. Up there at 13. If you remember from a couple of broadcasts ago, reacted to Daniel Jeremiah's first mock draft from NFL.com, and he had Hood as a top 12 player in his mock. Here it's at 13 going to the Rams. And Matt Miller's 2026 NFL mock draft. So it's Nashville live to tape. Went through some of these mock drafts in the DKDB. Updated today. Bunch of new ones in there. So I won't take too long with this. We're going through what Matt Miller has. We'll go through a few of the others as well. Jordan Tyson at 14 to the Ravens. He's an electric player, real playmaker. Brandon Cisse to the Bucs at 15. I think Cisse, some of this is, I think, within the expectation that Cisse is going to absolutely just knock it out of the park. at the Combine and at South Carolina's Pro Day. Tremendous high-end speed. If he can prove that he has it, that will get him mid-first consideration. I still think he's a sleeper to be the first corner taken. Like, I wouldn't count that out. I mean, here we are, February 2nd. This is me saying that. We'll see April 23rd what the consensus and the thoughts from everybody else holds to be. So we'll see what C say. But here, Matt Miller has him going to the Buccaneers at 15. 16, Makai Lemon. New York Jets. Jets have a lot of needs. A lot of talk that Lemon will go in that mid-first range. Heldrick Falk to the Lions and Matt Miller's new 2026 NFL mock draft over on ESPN.com. Got a link to everything for you on the DKDB. Of course, links in the description as well. The various mocks reacted to. Go check those out, please. Support people that do this great work. I put the best of the best in there. Number 18, Emmanuel McNeil Warren. That is more and more been heating up. It's like, okay, this is more than just a perceived need in a team. This is EMW to the Vikings at 18. Harrison Smith, what is his situation going to be? Is he going to hang up his cleats? Maybe an answer here for Minnesota at 18. 19, Vega to the Carolina Panthers. It's interesting with the Panthers. You get a lot of different projections. And of course, like with everybody, free agency will suss it all out as far as what the true team needs look like going into the draft. But interior offensive line, Vega, about as good as it gets in this draft from the way it looks at this point. Number 20, TJ Parker to the Dallas Cowboys. You're going to see a lot of that Parker getting back up there closer to top 10 range maybe. He had a tremendous showing at the Senior Bowl down in Mobile last week at the practices. I feel like there was something that happened at Clemson last season that the outside world didn't see, or something happened. Something was different. Something was weird there last year at Clemson. All these great players that suddenly their stats dip. Anyway, whatever the case was with Clemson for Parker, the right people that needed to see him perform well saw it in Mobile. I imagine we'll see more from him at the Combine, Clemson's Pro Day, and possibly in the first round of Dallas at 20. At 21, ESPN's Matt Miller has Avion Terrell to the Steelers. So if Terrell is on the board, thinking Steelers might go corner. Caleb Banks to the Chargers at 22. Caleb Banks, another player that helped his cause down in Mobile last week. He was injured for much of the 2025 season, but he's got freakish ability to go with his size, the unique athleticism. You get that with a lot of these first-round prospects. The very best, well, people that size, there aren't that many to go with the athletic ability. 23, this is one a lot of Eagles fans have been hoping for. Go look in the Eagles subreddit. They're talking about Kenyon Sadiq at 23 if he's there. Fills the need to be sure for the Eagles. Some of those same Eagles fans were very down on the concept of the Eagles taking a receiver at 23, but they said Sadiq is a tight end. They love it if he's there. So we'll see. That was a small sampling. Other Eagles fans might feel differently. 24, Denzel Boston to the Cleveland Browns. So if Cleveland goes with an offensive tackle at 6, like what Matt Miller had here, then back at 24, the wide receiver, Denzel Boston. I think there are a lot of different iterations of that based on the way the team needs are right now. And while it seldom actually plays out that way in practice, when you try to figure out what a team with multiple first-rounders will do, there is some method to the madness with that. 25, Chicago Bears, Zion Young, edge. You'll see a lot of different projections for the Bears. The Bears, the Eagles, Panthers, that kind of mid-first round range. Some of those teams, you get a lot of the same position. Some, it is all over the place. The Bears, Zion Young, another player. I mean, there's a lot of edge prospects that look like potential first-rounders. 26, Casey Concepcion. A lot of talk about Concepcion to the Bills, possibly. I mean, the Bills, if they don't go with Concepcion here, Some people still think that they'll go Chris Bell. I don't know. 27, Caleb Lomu, 49ers. I've seen this linked quite a bit. If Lomu doesn't go, some think that Lomu could go a lot higher than this. Young player, was a redshirt sophomore. He felt pretty confident, I imagine, that he'd be a first-round pick, or at least good chance to be. So here, Matt Miller has the 49ers taking Lomu. 26 to be 28, Houston Texans, Blake Miller. Another name starting to rise up quite a bit. Matt Miller notes that it's a class that this current draft class lacks a high number of prospects with a first-round grade. I encourage everybody to go to these various mocks that I react to and read the full information. Great detail in there. 29 Rams. Monroe Freeling. Offensive tackle, Georgia. A lot of late first-round appearances for Freeling. 30, Anthony Hill Jr. to the Broncos. A lot of talk that the Broncos, if they go defense, could go linebacker. 31, Cassius Howell. A lot of different opinions on Howell. It's like how some people will knock Reuben Bain Jr. down a bit because he doesn't have the measurables, like with arm length. You get some of that with Howell. But you look at what's 11.5 sacks he had last season. They want those elite blue-chip pass rushers. And if the Patriots can get him there at 31, advantage New England. 32. And of course, the last two spots contingent on the outcome to the Super Bowl. Malachi Fields. Now, that guy really impressed people in Mobile last week in those Senior Bowl practices. The practices are more important than the game. A lot of the scouts are gone by the time the game happens because it's a controlled environment. You know, people get hurt. So you're not going to have elaborate blitzes. And, you know, those practices, though, reveal some things. And Fields certainly a revelation to some. A couple of really impressive highlights. And it's funny with the Senior Bowl, you get a lot of this camera video, some of the scouts themselves shooting it there. It's a very different thing with the Senior Bowl, but it's very much a tradition that I enjoy seeing play out. Anyway, Fields, he impressed people. Maybe he'll go 32 to Seattle. So that's my reaction to Matt Miller's latest mock draft. I think this is first of this cycle. So I'm going to go through a few here real fast. Don't want to dwell on it too long. But I want to get to some of these. First new one in a while here for Trevor Sikkema. PFF. Didn't need to do that. I already had it open over here. I planned this stuff out a bit. So wide receiver 1 for Mekhi Lemon. What Trevor Sikkema has here. So let's see. And one, of course, Mendoza to the Raiders. Bain. Here you do see some of this. And usually when you see this, it's Bain to the Jets as opposed to Bailey. That seems to be the second most popular name. If you're going to see somebody in there that's not Arvell Reese. Now, I don't even remember offhand what Trevor had at 3, but I think almost always when this happens, you see Arizona taking Arvell Reese. Not 100% though. Let's see. No, Francis Malgoa. Well, this has Arvell Reese slipping a little bit. Trevor has David Bailey to the Titans at 4. Elite edge rusher. Titans really need somebody they can count on from the outside. Will squander the best years of Jeffrey Simmons. And they've got a new stadium coming up in 2027, the Titans do. They got to fill that place up. Those tickets are not cheap. Number 5, Lemon to the Giants. Seen some of that. Let's kind of go through these here. Everything jumps out at me. Reese falling to 7 to Washington. Compared with most prognosticators, that would be quite the bargain for the Commanders. Another Jeremiah Love to the Saints. I'm going to have to switch my mock back to that. A lot of people that know things are saying, yeah, you probably should give that a look. Caleb Banks, the Chiefs. Again, Banks really helped himself down in Mobile last week. And I figured for him, either if he couldn't go physically, then okay, forget it for the first round. But if he can go, he's going to impress people. Some of these guys with that freakish ability and size, they're going to impress people. A lot of options for Kansas City. Drafting up at 9. Woods at 10, so 2 defensive tackles off the board in the top 10. I mean, this is about the range where you'd think Woods would go. The Banks, we'll see what others say about Banks. Going into the Senior Bowl, some were saying round 2, round 3, but again, when you know that when somebody's on that freaks list from Bruce Feldman, you know they got it. There's something special. 11, I really like this if he's there. Mansour Delane to the Dolphins. Big corner need for Miami. Downs, no, Caleb Downs out of the top 10 here for Trevor. Let's see if anything jumps out. Tate at 14 to the Ravens. Akeem Mesidor. You'll hear it 1,000 times. He's old. That'll be 25 years old by the time the draft arrives. Hayden McDonald, all those tackles for loss as an interior defensive lineman for the Buckeyes. That would be interesting for the Vikings there. This has Sonny Styles all the way down to 19 compared to a lot that have been either at 10 or 12. But if you look up there at the teams that might be taking him, said, okay, well, we're thinking about him at 12, but if Caleb Downs is there, plans change, pal. TJ Parker, Dallas at 20. Again, I tell you, Parker's going to be a riser. He already is. It's not like it's a surprise. He was a top 10 on my list back before the season. And again, whatever happened to Clemson, I don't know. I can just tell you from the outside, something felt weird. And the stats reflected that. And the fact Parker looks so good in Mobile makes me think, okay. I don't know what it was. Maybe that's just a misperception on my part, but I'm not the only person who thinks this. 21, Ty Simpson, Pittsburgh. I mean, it fills the need. That's where if you're the Rams at 13, if you want Simpson, if you really think Simpson is worthy of a first-round pick, do you let him slide all the way down to 29 and just hope he's there, given the importance that position holds in the NFL? Now, the Rams, of course, it's not like they need somebody to start right now, right away. They got 2 first-rounders, and it's going to be talked about as a potential, thinking longer term. Simpson, 23 years old, less than 20 starts as a college quarterback, but grew up in the business. His father, a coach at University of Tennessee, Martin, Tennessee. 22, one of the matchups I love as far as the board and the team. Vega, the Chargers at 22. If he's there, I think the way it is now, a team needs the Chargers. Definitely benefit from having Vega in there. 23, Proctor, the Eagles. And all over the place with the Eagles. Casey Concepcion to the Browns at 24 is interesting. Lee Hunter, Bears all over the place. C.J. Allen to Buffalo, which is a very popular one if you're not going wide receiver. 49ers with Denzel Boston, that's interesting. Max Einaker, getting a lot of looks. Could go late first. Deontay Scott's name, I think that may have been one of the picks that I highlighted. Yeah, it was. Or was it? Yeah, there it is. Yeah, Keontae Scott, 29. I try and pick 3 from each one that I think are notable or interesting. I like to find names that aren't commonly in first-rounders, because sometimes you pick up trends that way. So McNeil Warren, another one with him going first round here at 30 to the Broncos. Zion Young to the Patriots. Zion Young, more and more of him. Walter Football has kind of had the curve on that, and I think he's been proven right what Young performed. Recent workouts. And Emmanuel Pregnon, guard, Oregon to Seattle at 32. So that's what Trevor has in his latest. That was one of the oldest ones I had still in the DKDB. So I was glad to get an update. I knew that coming out of the Senior Bowl, I knew that today we get a lot. And so I'm going through and reacting to some of these here. Go through 3 more. Let's hear from Lance Zierlein, NFL.com. Lance of Mendoza. There's more along the lines of what I'm thinking. Reese to the Jets. Fano to the Cards. Bailey to the Titans. Delane to the Giants. We're 5 for 5 matching up so far with what I have now. Carnell Tate to the Browns. A lot of people think that's going to happen. And it might. Eldrick Falk to the Commanders. Commanders are a really interesting spot here. They're going to get a high-end player, potentially at a premium position. That would be the case with Falk. At 8, another one, Jeremiah Love to the Saints. I mean, that's a lot. I mean, it's for something that's not a sure, like when a team needs a quarterback and you know they're going to take a quarterback. Here, it's like the Saints for sure need a running back here. You can get quality running backs later, but there's only one Jeremiah Love. He's really good. Number 9, Kansas City, Reuben Bain Jr. I tell you, a lot of these are showing, okay, maybe if Bain slides a little bit, there's Kansas City saying, okay, welcome here. Come in, Reuben Bain Jr. Bring that 100% effort to Kansas City. At 10, Cincinnati. Now that's interesting. Francis Mauigoa to the Bengals. That's where Lance has Mauigoa going. So something a little bit different for Cincinnati there. Jermod McCoy, Dolphins need a corner. Downs to the Cowboys. That's where you're hearing some of that coming out of the Senior Bowl. Like, okay, talent, maybe just because of the way the positional value is. As great as Caleb Downs is as a prospect, his read and react, I mean, number 12, that's close to top 10, but it's not top 10. There's a reason it hasn't happened in 10 years. But if it's going to happen, this would be the year when there's fewer top-tier quarterbacks, and you got a special talent like Downs. People were talking about this before the season. This was not a recent revelation. 13, LA Rams, Colton Hood. There's another one saying Hood coming up there to 13. When you have people with proven track records, and they've gone to Mobile, they're saying similar things about players and teams. Just something to keep in mind. Notable, Hood to the Rams. Proctor to the Ravens, I like that. Sonny Styles, if he's there, I really like him going to the Bucs. I just don't know if he'll be there. One more Lemon to the Jets, or the Jets going receiver here at 16 versus maybe going cornerback. I told you Zion Young. You're going to be hearing a lot about Zion Young. That guy's he's going somewhere first round, the way it looks now at least. Lions here at 17. Lance at 18, Avion Terrell. Big need for the Vikings. I think if you can get a quarter you like for Minnesota, you got to go with it here. Akeem Mesidor to the Panthers. That's interesting. I think Mesidor's best fit would be with a team that is ready to contend for a Super Bowl right now. So if he were to slide a bit, I want to talk maybe to New England at 31 if he's there. But what is showing last season for Mesidor with the Hurricanes? Dort Tyson still on the board at 20, going to Dallas. That's interesting. Pictures disappeared at this point. Boston to the Steelers at 21. Vega, the Chargers. You know I love that matchup. Cassius Howell. The photos took a moment to render, apparently. There they are. Hey, we're here. So Lance has the Eagles taking Cassius Howell. Browns on the board here. So the Browns go receiver at 6, come back at 24, and go tackle. Caleb Lomu. Here's another one saying Banks first round. The always mysterious projections for the Chicago Bears. Maybe we'll get some clarity between now and late April, but for now it's a wild spot. But although defensive tackle is one that's starting to show up a bit more for the Bears. 26, Bills, Emmanuel McNeil Warren. Get a lot of vibes like, yeah, this guy, he's got serious first-round potential. San Francisco. Oh, this is interesting. Kenyon Sadiq going to the Niners at 27. Caden McDonald's still on the board, going to Houston at 28. Lance at 29. Ty Simpson. So again, if you like Simpson enough to take him at 29, are you really willing to pass at 13? If you go Colton Hood at 13, it's interesting to contemplate. The unique thing, because the Rams, I mean, they've got Stafford. They can work something out for next season. He had a great 2025 season. It's not like he was down and out. But you got to think for the future as well. The Rams, the 2 first-rounders, with some latitude, they choose to do that. There are people that think Simpson will not go in the first round. But we'll see. Number 30, KC Concepcion, Denver Broncos. Another one saying KC in round 1. Another Monroe Freeling sighting. This one has Freeling to the Patriots. And Lance at number 32. This was, I think I pointed this out on the DKDB. Chase Bisontis. Texas A&M, interior offensive lineman. I don't know. I mean, after Gray Zabel last year, that leaked out. It would have been very difficult to project that if that hadn't leaked. But it did. I don't know, going back-to-back first-rounders at guard. I don't know about that. But it's interesting they could. And look, you believe enough in a player. You need 2 guards to be effective. So that was my reaction to Lance Zierlein of NFL.com. Now let's check in with Chris Perkins, South Florida Sun Sentinel. My first time reacting to Chris's work here on Nashville Lou Live to Tape. Going up on YouTube. The consultant said, make a video about these. Don't live stream it. They were adamant. Don't live stream it. Okay. They've been 100% accurate when they've been consensus on a suggestion. Anyway, so let's get the reaction here from my reaction to Chris Perkins and his first. Got a couple of mock drafts from the South Florida Sun Sentinel and the DKDB. This is, I give great consideration who goes in and who doesn't. The fact they have 2 in there reflects highly on the South Florida Sun Sentinel. So my reaction here to the first mock draft of the cycle from Chris Perkins, South Florida Sun Sentinel. Mendoza at 1, of course. Reese. But it's Bailey. Cards going David Bailey. And then Titans. And all right, we'll take Bain. Arnell Tate to the Giants. A lot of talk about that. Now Magoa to the Browns. Another one for Keldrick Falk. Edge from Auburn to the Commanders. Tyson. There's been some talk Tyson at 8 to the Saints. I think the Saints could use a receiver more than a running back, but then which receiver? And it's not just some running back, it's Jeremiah Love. 9. So Spencer Fando to the Chiefs. Caleb Downs, Bengals. So this has Downs in the top 10. Zierlein still on the board for the Dolphins at 11. There's Jeremiah Love for the Cowboys. I wonder if that would be a stopper for Love. If he gets to $12, like, all right. I don't know. That's a best player available. I think there's a sliding scale with that. It's one of those things they like to say in one situation, but in practice it may be different. But, I mean, Love's a special talent. McCoy to the Rams at 13. Jermod McCoy. Vega to the Ravens. There's Howell to the Bucks. Ty Simpson at 16 to the Jets. Woods. Another one. Vikings, one corner. Mesidor Panthers. Another one with that. Sonny Styles to Dallas. If Dallas can get Styles at 20, that'd be quite the coup. My reaction here to the first mock from Chris Perkins of the South Florida Sun Sentinel. So the Cowboys taking Love here at 12, and then at 20 getting Sonny Styles. Man, that would be something for the Cowboys. 21 Steelers, Mekhi Lemon. A lot of talk of that. Chargers going McDonald, D-tackle. TJ Parker, he's going to be making it into a lot of mocks, and rightly so. I mean, he's in mine, he's been in mine, but he's slid out. So there's a lot of edge prospects. Dizzle, Boston, Cleveland. So if Cleveland goes with Malago at 6, come back here with Boston. Banks to the Bears. And more and more, maybe the Bears not as much an enigma, but thinking which defensive tackle. There's a Lee Hunter sighting to the Bills at 26. Lobo 49ers, if he's there, I like that. Pregnon, Texans need interior offensive line help. This has Sadiq to the Broncos, man. Denver could come back strong this year. They can do that. Casey Concepcion, the Patriots, which is interesting. And then Colton Hood. So we've seen Hood 12, 13 overall, and then some have him very into the first round. That's my reaction to the first mock draft from Chris Perkins of the South Florida Sun Sentinel. Excuse me, let me say that slower. The South Florida Sun Sentinel. Nashville Lou live to tape. All right, one more to go through here. And a new one from Charlie Campbell of Walter Football. Well, some of these will be similar to what Charlie had before. Those, Ty Simpson at 2, he's had that. And I like the thought process of like, look, if you believe in a guy enough, you're going to take him at 16 as a quarterback. If you truly see somebody as that valuable, are you willing to risk it at 2? Although you can pick up so many different elite defensive players, and the Jets need help on that defense as well. But here, Campbell's got Simpson at 2, Fano at 3, Arvell Reese to the Titans. That'd be nice. Caleb Downs to the Giants. Downs would going to the Giants at 5 would be the first time for a safety to go in the top 5 of the NFL draft in 16 years. I go back to 2010 with Eric Berry in Kansas City. At 6, here's one for Proctor. Campbell's been saying. Proctor's even earlier in the process. I've seen Charlie Campbell have Proctor a bit higher. I've kept that in mind. I mean, he's got that 6'7", 366. Very few people at his size can do what he can do. Bailey of the Commanders. Another Jeremiah Love to the Saints. I'm going to have a tough time getting away from that. So many people have it. When that's the case coming out of a major event like the Senior Bowl, where a lot of people are exchanging notes, if there was pushback, I think we would have heard it by now. Tyson to the Chiefs. McCoy Bengals. Dolphins going Cardinal Tate. That would really surprise me. But if those corners are gone, look, McCoy's not there. Did they really pass on? No, Delane's down here. That's interesting. So this would be the Dolphins passing on Mansour Delane. Going Cardinal Tate. And Bain all the way at 12 for the Cowboys. Based on projections at this point, that would represent Considerable value for Dallas. Plus, they really need an edge rusher. Really bad. And Bain's a 3-down player. So Delane to the Rams. That'd be a great pickup there for the Rams. Falk to Baltimore. Another Sonny Styles. Buccaneers. If he's there, I think it's a distinct possibility. Boston to the Jets. Well, I thought Jets going receiver at 16. For the second half of the latest mock draft from Charlie Campbell of WalterFootball.com. Congratulations, Walter Football, hitting 10,000 subscribers on YouTube. They celebrated that with a show this past Friday. 17, Francis Malgo is still on the board. Campbell's mock, so Detroit. Another Minnesota going corner, which I think is a distinct possibility. I know some of us said safety, but I think corner, especially a need. Get used to seeing Zion Young between what Charlie Campbell's had, what Walter himself has had. They've been talking up Zion Young, and I think it's been proven right. He's coming out of Mobile. Brandon Cisse to the Cowboys. And you know he's going to test well. He's going to impress people. That pure speed. Mr. Jerry Jones, I think, will approve. Casey Concepcion, wide receiver. I know it says safety. He's a receiver. Texas A&M. Well, I thought Pittsburgh's going to go receiver. Peter Woods on the board for the Chargers at 22. Sadiq. Kenyon Sadiq to the Eagles. I really like that. The Eagles fans, I think it's a small sample, but the ones that were speaking out about it were very much in favor of going Sadiq there at 23 if he's available. Caleb Lomu, the Browns. Quite a bit of that. I think Browns go receiver at 6. You think tackle here, and maybe Lomu, a younger player, so if it takes him a year or two to really ramp up, by the time he's doing that, then maybe Cleveland has some other parts and pieces in place. Browns fans have been waiting. They come on, let's turn it around. 25, Cassius Howell, Bears. More D-line talk with the Bears. That's starting to solidify a bit more. Much of the Bears have been unpredictable, trying to figure out what are they going to do. Either an edge or a D tackle. The most likely at this point. Cade McDonald to the Bills at 26. Freeling to the 49ers. This is Vegas still on the board at 28. That would be a bit of a slide for Vega, but advantage Houston. Blake Miller, 29. Blake Miller. Again, these Clemson players, lo and behold, whatever black cloud was over the Clemson Tigers 2025 season, you get these players out from underneath it, and you've got T.J. Parker showing people up, showing out strong. In Mobile, you got Blake Miller talking first round, and not just one or two, but several prominent analysts saying that. Peter Woods, looking good as well. It wasn't like Clemson lacked the talent last year. Didn't work out. But I think this is where the value of these workouts comes in. Okay, well, how much was Clemson versus how much is the players? And evidence speaks for itself. Mekhi Lemon to the Broncos at 30. If he's still there, nice pickup for Denver. Patriots are Mason Thomas. There are a lot of edge rushers who could go late in this first round. Are Mason Thomas getting a lot of talk, a lot of consideration here in that late first spot. And then Willie the third, corner from Texas A&M to the Seattle Seahawks at 32. So that's my reaction to the latest mock draft from Charlie Campbell of Walter Football. All right, so got my reaction here. Be sure to check out DKDB. Bookmark the site. Bookmark this page. Daily updates. All the new ones we had just today. Some very recent stuff, and it's just going to start picking up more and more. As I went through in the beginning, how DKDB works, the about me. And the consultants told me to do these things. All right. Everything they told me to do has worked, including this you're watching right here. So, wrap it up right here. Thank you for watching. Please spread the word of the Mock Draft NFL channel here on YouTube. I'm your host, Lou Pickney. Thanks for watching. Catch you next time.